Hey, Casas Adobe's families and Sunday school and youth. Um, this is Pastor John here. Also, if we have any visitors, I want to welcome you too. This is my journey through Holy Week and Good Friday in preparation for Easter, because Holy Week and Good Friday, some very sad things happen. Some very bad things happen to Jesus. And the reason why we remember them is not because we want to stay in the bad things, but because you go through the bad, and then what happens is you end up at Easter, which is good. So you can't have good unless you go through the sad parts. And that's what makes Easter even better. So it's a little different than Christmas, because Christmas is about waiting and waiting and waiting, and then all of a sudden, yay, the gift is here. Easter is about going through some really hard times, really tough times. But the best thing is that there's new life at the end of Easter. And so that's just the beginning. I shouldn't even say it's the end. That is the beginning. So we think that the story ends on Good Friday, but it doesn't. So let's take a look and see what the story is that we're remembering. So I don't know if you guys who've been in Sunday school before, these are my resurrection eggs. They are like Easter eggs, but they tell the story of Jesus's last days, and so his last week. So I have the little book here, and the book will help me remember which egg is which, so I don't mess up the story. So come along with me, and we will take a look at Jesus's last week. So the first one says a blue egg. So got two blue eggs. Which one do you think it is? I think it's this one. So that looks like light blue. This looks like dark blue. So we'll go with blue. What is it? It is a donkey. A donkey. And if you remember from my last video, my very silly video where I took the donkey into the church when we walked, we remembered that Jesus came to the city of Jerusalem. That's what we celebrate on Palm Sunday, is Jesus came to Jerusalem on a donkey. And everyone said, yay, and they waved palms around. No, I don't have any more palms left. They waved palms around and said, Hosanna, yippee, welcome, son of David. And the sad thing is everybody was all excited. And by the end of the week, they're kind of mean. So that first egg we remembered Palm Sunday. Next, pink. Which do you think? Look at this. They put them so close. I think this one is sort of a magenta, so we'll go with this one. This one looks pink. All right, so the next part of the story is after Jesus came into Jerusalem, one of his friends, who wasn't really so much of a friend, said, you know what? I don't really know what Jesus is doing, and I don't like what Jesus is doing. So I'm going to go talk to some people, and I think they need to talk to him. And so he goes to some of the leaders who weren't very nice people. They were working for Rome, who was a really bad kind of government. It was under a guy named Caesar, and he controlled everything there. He controlled all the leaders in Palestine, and he even controlled some of the temple leaders. It was really not a good thing. So this friend of Jesus named Judas said, you know what? I know where he is, and I'll let you know where he is so that you can get him and come talk to him. Well, they said, all right, well, you did some good work, and here's some silver. And so they gave him some money, and I don't know if he really wanted the money or not, but they gave him money, and he sold Jesus out. So that's what that one's about. All right, next we have light purple. Look at this. They're doing two. Which one? Look at that. Is that one? There's that one. I think it's this one. All right. Maybe it's this one. This one sounds more like it. Okay. So after all this, on Thursday, Jesus gathered all his friends together for a special dinner. And it was a dinner that remembered the story of Moses and Passover. And so they got together. And during that special meal, Jesus took bread and he took a cup. He took a cup. It's a little tiny cup. And he told his friends, to eat this, to remember him, and that it was his body and his life essence. And he was able to say, you know what? When you eat this, I'm still alive. I'm alive in you. I'm alive in the world. And so remember me. Remember me. Now, at this dinner, Jesus also said, okay, one of you guys is selling me out, and one of you guys is going to deny you even know me. And that was Peter. And Peter's like, what? I'm never going to do that. And Jesus said, just wait and see, because some real tough times are coming. So we'll see what happens. So they had dinner, and then Jesus said, you know what? I feel like praying. And so he went to this garden, and the next thing says an orange egg. Look at these. Look at that. So close. I'm going to say this is the orange egg. Looks orange. The other one's kind of light orange. Okay, this is the orange egg. And so Jesus went in the garden and told three of his friends, come, stay with me and pray. And, we'll talk to God and try and work this all out. And so this one has praying hands. So that reminds us how Jesus prayed. And so when you pray, you go like this. You go like this. Some people pray like that. I tend to pray like this because I like having my hands open to God, being free to get and receive, and also offer up my prayers. So, but however you pray, it's all good. Okay, just remember to pray. So anyway, Jesus was praying, and then the guards came, and they arrested him. And so that's what this purple reminds us of. The guards, these are the guards, and they came and they arrested Jesus. So it's a little spear. And Jesus said, you know what? You could have gotten me any time. Why do you come now when I'm praying and just hanging out with my friends? I was in the temple. I was preaching. You never came for me then, but they came for him then because Judas had told him where he was. So next, they questioned Jesus, and they didn't really like what he was saying. And so what they did is, this is driving me insane, because they said the green egg. It's a green egg. They both sound the same too. I think this is the one I'm looking for. So this green egg has, they did something very bad to Jesus. I'm going to go over this pretty quick because it's not a nice thing. But they whipped him, and they hurt him really bad. And so they whipped him, and then after they whipped him, his friend Peter was hanging out in a courtyard, very similar to like our courtyard, how we have that courtyard where the fountain is in church. And he was hanging out there waiting to see what's happening with Jesus because he's all confused. And somebody says, "Hey, you, I know you, you're his friend." And he said, "Nope, sorry, don't know him, you're mistaken." Then someone else said, "You know what? Yeah, I know you. You are his friend." And he's like, "No, I'm sorry." And then finally someone else said, "You know what? I think that you are his friend." And Peter got really mad and he started swearing and saying bad words. And he said, "I don't know him." And he left. And as he was leaving, he heard this one. No, not that one. This one is a yellow egg. And so I have to peek because that doesn't sound like the right one. Oh, it is. Okay. It is a yellow egg. And he heard the rooster. The rooster crowed. And then he remembered the words that Jesus said, you know, by the time the rooster crows in the morning 2 times, you're going to say you don't know me 3 times. And guess what? He said it 3 times. So he went off, he was crying, he was really sad, and he ran away. So that left Jesus all alone. All of his friends left him. And he's in the courtyard and he's been hurt with the whip. And so now the soldiers decide, oh, you know what? Why, he's the king of the Jews. I know. We will make a crown for him. And so they made a crown of prickly thorns and put it on his head. And that was terrible. It's a lot of terrible stuff happening. Next, they he gets sent to this guy named Pontius Pilate, who's sort of a Roman governor, and he says, well, you know what? I think that you are making people unhappy and kind of stirring them up against Rome and against the temple leaders, and I just don't think you're a good person, so we are going to put you onto a cross. And Jesus doesn't really say anything. Jesus, during this whole thing, isn't yelling back. He's very peaceful and quiet, and he tells Pontius Pilate, well, I'm just telling the truth, and here you're wanting to put me to death. And so, but Pontius Pilate ends up saying that Jesus is going to die on a cross. And so this next one, which is a green egg, has some nails, and it's in the form of a cross, and that's just to remind us that Jesus was put on a cross very sadly and very unjustly. And so it just really made a lot of people very sad. So next, we have the blue egg. So after a while, Jesus died on the cross, and he forgave people, and he talked to some other people while he was on the cross, and he really showed people what he's all about. And then at one point it's so bad because you have to remember everybody left him except, and this is really important, some of his women friends hung around, his mom Mary, and then some of his women friends hung around, and they were with him till the end. But was very sad because Jesus ended up dying on the cross, and so it was late in the day, and so his friends um, took his body, and what they did is they wrapped it. Ooh, look at that! In a linen cloth, a clean cloth, and this is going to be real important in the Easter story. So they wrapped it in the linen cloth, and they put it into a tomb. And they couldn't, because it was coming up on the Sabbath, which is a holy day, and they weren't supposed to work. Because they were at the Sabbath, they had to leave Jesus' body, and they said, well, after the Sabbath, we'll come back and do everything else we need to do to prepare Jesus' body for burial. And so what they did is they left his body in the tomb with a linen cloth, and they rolled a big stone in front of the door. So that's where the story ends, with Jesus dead inside of a tomb, wrapped in a linen cloth with a stone in front of the door. This is the one for Easter, but I'm not going to open this one yet. So, what do you think is going to happen? Where do you think this story is going? This is what we find out on Easter. So thank you for going through this story with me. I know it's kind of sad and kind of long, but you know, these resurrection eggs kind of make them a little more interesting, and I don't want to say fun because it's not a fun story, but I think it makes it easier to understand. So join me for the next video, because I'm going to be talking about that last dinner that Jesus had, and we'll have something to do at that too. So you might want to grab something to drink and maybe a little biscuit or piece of bread or something like that if you're going to watch the next video. Okay, thank you.